After this video, you're gonna be able to configure SSL decryption on your Palo Alto Firewall. Nowadays, most servers on the internet are configured to encrypt the communication with their web clients. For example, if you try to access netsums.com, your browser gets automatically redirected to an encrypted communication using HTTPS instead of HTTP. For the firewall, it means that there is a lot of information being exchanged that it cannot inspect. By activating SSL decryption, the firewall decrypts the information, analyzes it, and encrypts again. And it does it all in real time. Let me show how the firewall does it using an example. So you have a user that's trying to open a connection to HTTPS netsums.com. So the firewall intercepts this connection and itself opens a new connection to netsums.com. It analyzes the certificate the netsums sends back, including the verification with the corresponding certificate authority. If the Palo Alto sees that the certificate the netsums sent back is valid, so it generates on the fly a new certificate for netsums.com and presents it to the browser of the user. So in the end, two sessions are created, one between the user and the firewall, and another one between the firewall and netsums.com. But just a personal warning, it sounds better in theory than it really is in practice. There are some problems that may come up with the configuration of SSL decryption, which may lead to a negative user experience, such as web servers on the internet are able to detect if the communication with the clients is being broken by the use of SSL decryption from some network equipments. For example, when you use online banking, it can be that the server noticed by the handshake that there is a man in the middle, let's say like this, or an SSL decryption, and end the communication right there. So you won't be able to connect to your online banking, for example. You can start having problems with unsupported cipher suites. Mutual authentication won't be supported. It means if the web server requires that the client authenticates itself, the firewall doesn't have the private key from the client, and this won't be possible with SSL decryption. So with PenOS 9 or earlier, TLS version 1.3 is not supported. This can also be an issue for you. So in this case, you should upgrade to PenOS 10.0 or newer. There are some countries that by law don't allow the use of SSL decryption for some applications. I've seen some certificate issues regarding some special applications, some proprietary applications that work fine until you turn on SSL decryption because they use, for example, self-signed certificates. And that Palo Alto cannot validate the self-signed certificate, so after activating SSL decryption, the connection cannot be established anymore. So one of Palo Alto recommendations is that you use SSL decryption, not for everything, but for some URL categories, for example, social media or social networking. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can block uploads to Google Drive using SSL decryption. So let's get our hands dirty. So what you're seeing now is a Linux client that I have behind my firewall to access the internet. So I'm going to access here my Google Drive, google.com to sign in. I created a test user. This is going to be everything new. So now I'm going to upload a file. File upload. This one is fine. It's about 100 megabytes. You can see on the right corner that's uploading. So it has been uploaded. So let's take a look at the file to see which kind of applications this upload used. So this is the file. So let's go to monitor. Under traffic, let me just erase this. Under traffic, I have filtered as a source IP address my Linux client. I'm going to exclude DNS so that we see a little bit less. You cannot really know what these public IP addresses are, but you can see here the application that's being used is Quick. This is a Google application that the firewall cannot decrypt, and it's used to access some stuff on the Google Cloud. The first thing we're going to do now is to block this Quick. But before blocking Quick, I want to show you the entry or the session with the upload. So 10 megabytes. Everything larger than 10 megabytes should be shown. There, this is the first entry. It's 101, and it's using the application Quick. With this application, we won't be able to differentiate if it's an upload or download, and that's what we want to achieve. We want just to block uploads and we want to allow downloads. So the first thing we're going to do now is to block this quick application, and the browser is going to notice that quick is not going through and is going to fall back to normal SSL connection. So let's go to policies. I'm going to click on add. I'm going to call this block quick. So from my inside zone, as a destination, I'm going to say it's any destination. Here I need to insert VPN tunnel. Don't worry about this. In your case, it should be outside. My lab is a little bit more complicated. I have a site-to-site tunnel connecting this firewall to another one. Don't worry about it. Whenever you see VPN tunnel in my scenario, you should understand as outside. And the destination address will be any. The application, of course, is going to be quick without the K in the end. Here we don't need anything. Action would be true. I'm going to deny this. Click on OK. This firewall has been configured so far with Panorama. That's why you see some yellow security rules. But I've been using the post rules from Panorama, so whenever I configure something locally, it's going to come on top. So, and this rule here, the number 7, is the rule that's allowing the connection from my Linux client to the internet. Okay, so I'm going to commit this. Commit it through. We're going to go back now to the Linux client, and here we're going to start everything from the beginning again. So let me erase this file. Let me close this window. I'm going to open a new one. Here I'm going to type drive.google.com. So you can see that the connection still works, even though I blocked quick, and we're going to do the same, upload the file. File upload, and click on open. So the upload has worked even without the quick application. Now we're going to go back to the file to take a look which applications now Google Drive is using. So I'm back to the firewall now. Let me remove this byte restriction, and we can see that the quick application is being blocked, and you can also see that Google is using now Google Base and also SSL. Just gonna wait a little bit and refresh my page so we can see a little bit more what just happened now. After refreshing the page, we can see now here our upload, 103 megabytes, and now Google's using Google Drive Web as an application. But our problem remains, because Google Drive Web, we still cannot know if it's an upload or a download. So for that, we need SSL decryption. So let's start configuring it. First, we need to go to device. Under certificates, we need a couple certificates. So we're going to click on generate. I'm going to generate first my trusted root CA. Common name root CA. The common name is not so important this time. Signed by, you leave it blank. It's a certificate authority, and you can click on generate. Now we need a second certificate. This one is going to be called trusted sub CA. This common name is going to be shown to your clients using SSL decryption. So I'm going to put something that makes sense. PAVM.netsums. PAVM Palo Alto Virtual Machine is the name of this machine. I'm just going to put something like this. Technically, doesn't matter much what you have here in your common name, but just keep in mind your clients accessing the internet will be able to see this common name. This is also a certificate authority. It's signed by the trusted root CA. Number of bits here I'm going to increase to 4096 and click on generate. And then I need a new one. It's called untrusted CA. Common name is also not important. It's also a certificate authority. Well, we can raise the number of bits. generate. Now we need to change something on all these 3 certificates. I'm going to click on top of it, trusted root CA, and we need to set this to a trusted root CA. Our trusted sub CA needs to be selected as forward trust certificate, and our untrusted CA needs to be selected as forward untrust certificate. You should commit the configuration now. I've had some problems before that if I do everything with the SSL decryption, that I had some problems that the file was not finding the certificates. So my recommendation is now, after you configure the certificates, that you commit once, and then we can keep going. So the commit is through. Just one more thing that I wanted to tell you. If you have multiple files doing SSL decryption, you should use for each file a different trusted sub CA. It's the recommendation from Palo Alto. For the untrusted CA, doesn't really matter, but for the trusted sub CA, you can derive from the same root CA, but the sub CA you should create different one for each firewall. And one other thing, I'm doing this because I don't have an internal PKI, but if you have one PKI in your company, please do use it instead of creating self-signed certificates on the file. You should prefer to use your own certificates from your PKI. Now I need to export this trusted sub CA, export certificate, because I need to install this CA on my clients, in my case on my Linux client. In your case, if you have a PKI and you have a root CA already on your clients, so you don't need to worry about this step. So I'm back on my Linux client, and now I have transferred the sub CA trusted certificate to the client, and now I need to import it to my Google Chrome. So I do this by going to Settings, Privacy and Security, Security, and if I scroll down, I'm gonna see Manage Device Certificates. And under Authorities, we need to import the new certificate. It should be under Home. There it is. Select. And I'm going to trust this certificate only for identifying websites. Just go forward and back. There it is. Now we're going to go back to the file and keep configuring the SSL decryption. Okay, now the next step is going to be under Objects. We need to configure a decryption profile. You should have C1 already, but we're not going to use this one. We're going to create a new one. And you're going to click on Add. And I'm going to just type Google Drive Decryption Profile. This is up to you what you want here to configure, but I like to, regarding the server certificate verification, I like to block sessions with expired certificates, with untrusted issuers, with unknown certificate status. Status check timeout, it means that the firewall could not check if the certificate is valid or not. I can set the file to append certificates CN to design extensions, and these 3 I can also check. Take a look at the options and see what best fit your environment. And now under SSL protocol settings, I'm gonna check my minimum version to 1.2. My maximum version, I'm gonna leave maximum. And I'm gonna click on OK. Now we're gonna go to Policies, Decryption, and we're going to configure now our decryption rule. I'm going to click on Add, Google Drive Decryption, you can say SSL Decryption. Source is going to be my inside. Go inside. This I'll leave it empty. So it means that this decryption is going to match all the traffic that's coming from the inside zone, including my Linux client. As a destination, VPN tunnel. Again, in your case, should be outside probably. Destination address, I created a group called Group Google Drive. I'm gonna show you what's inside. Here I'm gonna leave to any, an option. This is where the magic works. Action is decrypt. SSL Forward Proxy is correct. Decryption profile, this is not mandatory, but we created one. I would recommend you also to create one, because then you're more flexible in what kind of traffic you want to accept or not. So if you have a server on the internet that shows you a bad certificate, you have the option through the decryption profile either to accept it or not. And then I'm going to click OK. Now let's go to our destination. In this destination, I have some FQDNs from Google, Docs Google.com, Drive Google.com. And throughout my research, I found out that whenever Google uploads something, it goes to this signaler -pa.client6.google.com. If you have a critical application in your company that you want to block, that you want to investigate, I would not recommend you to do this way as I did with the FQDNs. Instead, I would recommend you, let me click here, to use the URL category. You should find out which URL category that you want to block. In this example here would be probably this one, storage. Let me see, online storage and backup. But I'm not so sure. I just found out the FQDN and I went through this route. But you should make a better investigation and list here all your URL categories that you would like to decrypt. Another way to do it, I also have this for one of my clients, is that I decrypt everything that goes to the internet. So it would mean, let me just give an example. You mean here on destination, I would just leave outside, and here I would leave an any. So everything would be decrypted. And before that, I have some no decrypt rules, which list the exceptions that I need to make for it to work. But in my case, I'm just gonna configure the SSL decryption for Google Drive. So I'm gonna click on cancel. And this is our SSL decryption rule. Now we need to create a security rule that is going to block Google Drive upload So again, my inside, give everything, destination, VPN tunnel, destination address, I will leave as any here in the security rule, and my application is going to be Google Docs uploading. I think it's like this. Yeah, this is correct. You don't need to select any of these, only Google Docs uploading. Application default, action is gonna be deny. And then I'm gonna click on OK. So the rule is here on top. Everything else that's not recognized as Google Docs uploading is gonna be allowed through this rule 8, allow Linux Internet. So I'm gonna commit the configuration now. So the configuration has been committed, and I'm gonna go back to my Linux client. So at my Linux client now, I'm gonna stay here on the settings and go to privacy and security where I am. And I'm gonna clear my browsing data because now my Fire is gonna present me with a new certificate and I want to start it clean. Under advanced, in my case, last hour should be enough. And I'm gonna clear everything, clear data. And I'm gonna close my browser and open a new one. So now I'm gonna type in drive.google.com, asking me to sign in. And now we should see here on this lock, if I click on it and go to connection is secure, certificate is valid. If I click on top of it, we can see here in the issued by pavm.netsums. This is what I said before. So the firewall is presenting me now with the certificate, not the Google Drive anymore. And the common name that's coming from the file is the certificate it's my subCA certificate. Okay. So now we are going to try to download this file that I uploaded. Click on download. click on download anyway, and you can see on the top right corner, so the download has been finished. I'm gonna then send this file to the trash, and I'm gonna try to upload a new one. If we did everything correctly, this won't be possible. So Google Chrome, and if you take a look on the right bottom corner, you're gonna see that the Google Chrome is saying connection lost. If you click here to retry, it doesn't work. So now let's go back to the file to see what the file has logged. So under monitor, I already have the filter, and the file is blocking now Google Docs uploading. Perfect. And the upload should be still in the session browser. Should be this one. And just clear the session. Then I think it should be showing on the traffic. Yeah. The upload is this one, and use the application Google Base. So now, through SSL decryption, we can differentiate if the application is an upload or download. So guys, as always, big thank you for watching the video until the end. I hope you got some value. If you did, just give me a thumbs up. If you want, you can subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.